Hi everyone, welcome to Inspiration Ministries. I'm David Chadwick. I'm dealing with the very difficult subject of why is there suffering in the world? And there are some biblical answers, and I'd like to suggest to you some of those answers in our time together today. You need to understand that God originally made this world without sin and without suffering. There's something biblically called original intent. Jesus referred to it as the kingdom of God. It's where God ruled over everything perfectly. When He created the world, it all worked harmoniously, and that was His original intent. In the fourfold harmony that God intended to exist, a harmony between God and us, a harmony between people, a harmony within ourselves, and a harmony with creation, when the enemy rebelled against God in heaven and came to this earth with his legions of demons and tempted Adam and Eve, and they fell and ate of the fruit, then death is introduced into this world. Notice that death is an evil intrusion into God's once perfect original intent. God never intended death to come to this world. It's the result of what's called the fall. Genesis 1 and 2 is creation. It's perfect. There's a fourfold harmony. Genesis 3 is the fall. And now there's a fourfold disharmony. Let's look at the first disharmony. There's no longer a harmony between God and us. That relationship has been shattered as Adam and Eve walked with God in the garden and had constant communion with Him. They talked with one another. They walked with one another. There was prayer with one another. There was talking in every possible way about God's purpose and plan for them in Eden, which means paradise. That paradise is disrupted, and no longer is there harmony between God and with Adam and Eve. The perfect example of that's a few chapters later in Genesis 11. We have people building a tower called the Tower of Babel, and in pride saying, we want to make a name for ourselves. That was the rebellion against God. And so many of our problems in suffering in this world are people who in pride take precedent and priority over another person and inflict their will on that person and hurt those people terribly. No longer are those people looking to God for His will and His kingdom rule. They're looking for themselves and their own name to be great. If you would look at a lot of suffering in this world, it's because of people's rebellion against God, assuming God's position of priority in the universe and then getting their will done, not God's will being done. Interestingly, we have this word ego in the English language to describe that pride that existed at the Tower of Babel that caused Adam and Eve to rebel, that even goes back to Lucifer's rebellion against God Himself, pride. That word is ego, E-G-O. The best definition of ego I've ever heard is this one: edging God out. It's because of our ego and our pride that the rebellion in Eden occurred. It's because of our ego and our pride that we've inflicted so much suffering upon this world. The result is the fall. That's what caused it all. And we live in the hope that one day there will come someone, His name is Jesus, who will replace our pride with selflessness and loving one another more than hating one another. How we long for that day to come.